Hello, welcome back to another cozy vlog. I have been putting a lot of thought into what I've been making lately, and while I have been doing things for spring and summer, I really want to try knitting. So I think in today's video, I am going to try and knit my first hat ever for the first time. I have been practicing with continental knitting, doing a garter stitch, and I forget the other stitch name. I practiced two. I did do a bind off on one. So I'm hoping to see if I can make one knitted hat today. I'm going to go ahead and use up this yarn. It's not a full cake, but I know that there's plenty. And I think this would look really nice knitted. I do have other yarn I think I would want to use more, but I feel like those ones I bought to double strand with. So I am going to try with this one first. I have been watching Passionate Kelsey's knitting videos, but I'm going to go find a tutorial on YouTube so I can watch step by step do it. Because I do feel like I learn a lot better by watching videos. I also got myself a set of knitting needles on Amazon. They're all metal, so I'm a little worried about that, but we're going to figure it out. And they're pink. They're pointy. I am going to look up a video. Simple. Oh, I think it's a garter stitch and purl stitch stockinette. It is a garter stitch and a stockinette stitch that I have practiced. And I feel like I kind of have the hang of it, but now I want to put myself to the test and make a hat with the needles, tension, and even if I do it all and I completely take it apart, at this point, I don't care. I just want to practice making something. That is what I want to do for today's video. I'm going to pick a pattern. I'm going to start making it. And we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to try out a pattern. If it doesn't work, I'm going to try and find another one. See if I can find a beginner one. Maybe I need to do more practicing. Maybe I'm fooling myself thinking that I can actually finish a knitted hat for the first time when I've only been knitting for maybe 2 hours. But we all have to start somewhere, so I am going to go ahead and get started on that for today. I have been sitting here for hours working on this knitted hat. I have started a hat at least 8 times, and I went around at least 5 of those times, I think. And I think I finally got it. I tried watching multiple tutorials and things like that, and I couldn't do it. So I went back to Passionate Kelsey's. I am doing her chunky knit beanie, but instead of doing 2 strands, I'm doing 1 strand, and I am using black. I feel like this is a lot different than crocheting with black yarn. Oops, hold on. I'm scared I'm gonna mess myself up. It's a lot different than crocheting with black yarns, and I'm getting used to recognizing the stitches, so that is amazing. I love that for me, because I did a couple rounds. I think the first time I actually got the hat in the round, I just kept going, and I started with like the knit purl, just to get practice, and eventually I was like, okay, well, this one's a knit, and this is how this stitch looks, and this one's a purl, and that's how that stitch looks. And I'm still messing up ish, like putting my needle in the wrong way, and I'm trying to figure out my hands, but okay, that was a purl. I am doing it. I am so happy. Sometimes I can sit here and do it not fast, but smoothly, and trying to talk and do this at the same time is a little bit challenging. I feel like the purl stitch is harder for me than stitch. I think it's going really good though. I always forget to put the yarn in the front instead of in the back for the purl stitch. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I didn't know what I would have been talking about an hour ago. And this is called continental knitting, which I had never heard about, but I am doing it. I've been thinking too about going to the craft group at one of the local yarn shops called Starlight Knitting Society, and I'm kind of afraid to go over there and have someone tell me you're knitting wrong, which, because I probably am, to be honest, but it's working. It's working. I will give you guys a close-up in a moment, but I am so proud of myself. Definitely feel like the hardest part is putting my yarn in the front and remembering to do that. I also feel like I'm working very, very close to the end of the needles, but sometimes, I don't know, I'm all the way down here, so I'm learning. This is a process and I'm doing it. It's honestly really satisfying to sit here and knit. Can I watch something? No. I can listen to something, but I'm also really not listening because I'm trying to knit, purl, and I'm okay with that. Looking at my work, I don't really know which one is the knit and which one's the purl. It's going though. I love that I can set it down now and then pick it back up, and I know which one I just did. That was driving me a little bananas at first, because I was like, I can't stop because I don't know which one I'm supposed to do, and I know that the first one is supposed to be a knit stitch and the last one is supposed to be a purl stitch. Like that one was weird. Okay, maybe it's time for my glasses. The light behind it also isn't helping because I feel like I'm kind of blinded. But I did want to get on here and give you an update. Right now it's 5:10, so I have been sitting here since about probably 11 working on this. This I started probably around, I feel like I started this maybe around like 3:30 or 4. But I started the hat twice and I had to take it apart twice, so who knows at this point. I guess I'm just kind of shocked because I can't believe it's taken me this long to learn how to knit, and I could have been doing this all this time. And I don't know why I chose a hat as my first project. I guess because I feel like it's kind of easier. But I'm not really sure that it is, because you have to have the perfect amount of stitches and you have to, it's not forgiving. And I'm doing two types of stitches. I feel like it would have been easier to just do all one thing, but I didn't. And I'm okay with that. Yes, ending on a purl stitch, even with the talking. I'm gonna laugh if I look back at this and there's a mess up on this row, because I'm gonna know it was from me talking on this. I am very, very happy with this. This is actually I forget the name. I think it's Wool Ease, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe not. I don't know, it's caked, so I pulled it off my wall. I debated doing a 4 worsted weight, but trying to find a pattern for one right now was not on my list of things to do, and the videos I watched made me feel more confused than like, oh, okay, I can do this. So I just went ahead, because I know this is the pattern I want to learn how to make, the chunky knit beanie from Passionate Kelsey. I just went ahead and decided I'm gonna do this. I almost did the double-stranded worsted weight yarn, but I wanted to make it easier on myself with my tension and only one strand, so that's what I chose to do. And depending on how good this hat comes out, I might go ahead and jump into some of my special yarn from the yarn crawl, because there is one in there that is a like chunky weight, which when I picked it up, I decided I was going to either make a hat or a headband or some type of like mini maybe neck cowl. I don't know how far it'll go, so we shall see. Well, this is going to be my update. A little more talking right now than normal. Probably going to throw in a time lapse later. This yarn is a little challenging because I feel like I'm kind of splitting the yarn a little bit, but it is actually not too bad. I really hope that even after this is done, the tension's not weird. But if it is, it's okay, because I know I'm gonna have that happen. This is my very first thing. It's so satisfying hearing the needles clicking. I did also try to do some crocheting with a worsted weight on a 5mm knitting needle circular set, but they're metal, and I know I've seen videos saying beginners should use bamboo, they're more grippy. I actually thought these were metal, but they're not. They are a wood, I think. I don't know. They're Knit Pro Dreams 8mm. But either way, I don't know. I don't know that I have a preference on needles yet. These ones I'm having trouble because it's so short, which might be why some people really love them, and I'm just new and having a little bit of a hard time with it. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to make sure I don't lose my stitches. See, this one is like connected a little bit. I think I need to knit. Or just keep splitting a little bit and being weird. Yeah, because that one's still connected, but I'm trying to do a knit, so I feel like if I can get it, it will be very forgiving and you won't even notice it. Okay. But I do get myself some metal needles, and I'm not sure if it's me or the needles or just because I needed to practice. But now that I'm doing this, I feel like maybe it'll be easier the next time I pick those up. I tried to watch a tutorial on knitting, and I'm realizing that I would have to find someone who actually crochets and then teaches you how to knit and do more of those type of tutorials. And there might be someone out there. If you know someone, please share it in the comments. I would love to watch some videos, and if you have any recommendations. There was one more that someone else mentioned. Can't remember who though. I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous about this. Can I talk and knit at the same time? But I did in fact finish this row on a purl, which is amazing. I am going to keep working at this, but we have some plans, which I am going to leave this at home for, but I will definitely be picking this up tonight and seeing how much I can get done before the night's over. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to look like much. It's black. Also, I might not have enough yarn. I'm hoping I do though, because knitting takes up less yarn than crocheting does. But there's a possibility that I might run out. And I don't really have any more of this specific yarn color, or really something that I can share it with, like put a second color. So we are gonna just go with it. Maybe it'll be a kid size if it doesn't work out, and then I actually won't get to keep it. But if I have enough and it fits really good, like the size, I am definitely keeping this one for myself. I am in awe right now. I am in so much awe. I've always felt out of place going into those local yarn shops just because I'm not a knitter. I don't know anything about knitting, and feel like people like to make socks and things like that, and that actually terrifies me. I guess I feel like if I ever am going to feel, right now in this moment, if I'm ever going to feel like an accomplished knitter, I will have made a pair of socks. And I'm gonna laugh because one day I might make a pair of socks, and then I'm gonna make something else that's even worse than socks, and I'm gonna be like, I was terrified of socks, look at me now. At least I hope that's what happens, but we're gonna see. Hello everyone, it is the next day. It's the end of the day. We ended up driving to Texas Roadhouse for the first time. I've never had Texas Roadhouse before, and it was really good. I wanted to take a break. I have been working on my knitted hat when I got home, and I'm having some issues right now. I'm not really sure what I'm doing wrong. I know I messed up down here on this line, and I have been doing pretty good for the rest of it, and I was gonna keep this, but I'm running into some issues and I am not sure how to fix them. I've taken this row off, I can't tell you how many times, and I am not sure where I'm going wrong. I am stumped, and I feel like the black yarn is not helping me. So I think I know what I want to do. This has been a great progress for me. I feel like I got it. I feel like I can recognize the stitches. Although right now I'm totally going against what I'm saying, I guess, because I'm going to frog this. And I have learned a lot doing this. I have worked a row backwards to find the right stitch, and I know now that I can do that, and I am proud of myself for doing that. And I think I know which stitch is which stitch is which, and I am actually grateful for that. This was a learning experience, but I can knit. And now that I know that, I think instead of continuing with this black yarn, I want to do a double-stranded knit beanie. So that's what I'm going to do. It does take me a bit of time to, actually, before I started taking it all apart, I should have seen how much I actually knitted. I think I was at like 8.5, which isn't bad. It was very slow getting started. It took me a lot of time to get started, getting the stitch count right, starting the row with the right stitch and ending it on the right stitch. That was very challenging. And so I ended up restarting the first row multiple times, just because I wasn't even sure if I cast it on the right amount or what was going on there. I have no idea. But I do feel like this yarn is too dark for me to recognize what's going on. And I'm not even sure if doing a double strand is going to help me out either. I don't feel like I have any bulky yarn like this one is. Also, I've been knitting it so much that it's starting to like split a little bit and be a little messy, not be more defined. So I think I'm going to stop with this yarn. I will still use this. I really want to try a double knit beanie. I feel like I should. I actually was going to try a worsted weight individual by itself. I'm not even sure at this point if I shared that with you all, but I wasn't sure which size hook to use and how many to cast on. I did want to end this video by having one completed knit hat, and I'm feeling like that is not going to happen. And I don't want this video to go on forever. So why don't we call this it? Because I meant to take a picture of this. Let's call this it for this video. It was my first attempt at trying to knit a beanie, and it wasn't a successful one, in the sense that I did not complete it. Not that I did not make great progress in strides, but I am learning. This was that, so trying to find a better method to knowing how much yarn you need than just, because when I did do the cast on method, it wasn't enough a few times, and that, or the you wind it on the needle and then you calculate. It wasn't enough at times. This was an attempt. I wouldn't really say it was a fail. I didn't complete what I wanted to complete, but that doesn't mean I am not going to try again. So this was the first of many. Maybe I will try again with this yarn, but I have a feeling this one's splitting too much, so I'm probably just going to crochet with this one, and I will have to pick a different color to do. Either go get a new chunky to actually make a beanie, or do my double strand, which is what I really want to do. I did go ahead and actually start a new knitted beanie, and I completed it. It is not perfect. There is a lot of improvements to be made, but I am going to keep it as a memento to remind myself of where I started. And maybe I'll wear it. I'm not sure. There is a lot of imperfections once you start really looking at it, but I love these colors, and this is exactly why I wanted to learn how to knit, is to do double stranding, different combinations, and I love it, and I definitely want to make more. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in this content, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye!